So, quick disclaimer, this is all totally real life. I really am a shut in. I really have not left my property in 7 years. Second, I'm still totally trying to figure out how to do all this. So, none of this is going to be perfect. I didn't grow up living on the internet. I just recently, started doing all this through my college. I didn't get my first phone until I was paying my phone bill. I'm 21 years old. Um, so this isn't going to be perfect, but it's definitely going to be real. There is no filtering. There's no hiding my awkward voice on the recordings. It's all just completely real and actual. So, of course, there's the main first question of how did I get here? And I wish I could say it was a short answer, but obviously, like most things, it's layers and past things all building up to this. So, I had a rough childhood, but due to privacy on that one, I'm not gonna talk about that one just yet. Maybe in the future. So, I had my first panic attack when I was, 10, 11, somewhere around there. I had tripped and fell in front of a lot of my close friends and family at a party, and it just kind of hit me all at once. I didn't know what was happening. And so my mom drove me back home, and we just kind of tried to move on from it and not let it affect us because it might have just been a one-time thing. And then the very next day at school, I slid and fell in the cafeteria in front of everyone during lunch and immediately had my second panic attack ever. That was the moment where my mom was kind of like, this isn't normal. And she had similar illnesses of mental health in the past, so she kind of had a feeling of what it was. And she enrolled me into therapy. And things kind of got better after that. I was still having panic attacks at least once a week. But the therapist put me on medication. I took my medication very nice and I was smart with it. And that's basically chapter 1 of, not the beginning, but the start of the downfall, I guess. So by this point, I was in 4th grade, and it sort of became this daily struggle of I didn't understand myself or what I was feeling at any time, and it got harder to talk to my therapist. And the medication I was on was actually a sedative, and it kind of clashed with my now diagnosed ADD and really hurt more than anything. I was getting to a point of not being coherent during conversations, and I would stop going out and hanging out with friends. Or one of the things that really happened was me and my mom would go to the store and I would sit in the car and wait while she went inside the store and shopped. And that really started this paranoia in me where I kind of felt like everybody was watching me and going to grab me or something. So that was mistake number 1, is I regret stopping going into the stores. It was a big part of the shut-in starting. So then I would just stay at home while my mom or someone else ran errands. And I would start skipping out on school. I would fake being sick and just stay home. And eventually got to a point where the school board was questioning what was going on. And so my mom had to enroll me in a temporary homeschooling class where the teacher would come out to our house and bring the school lessons to me. And that was a big ordeal too, because school has always been, I guess, a comfort to me. I really enjoyed learning new things and experiencing new things, so to kind of lose that daily school life in favor of a once a week lesson of the teacher coming to my house and sitting at the kitchen table really hindered a lot of my mood and my daily struggles. I kind of felt already cut off from the world. But through it all, I ended up going back to school and finishing my 4th and 5th grade classes in public school. The summer was really, really hard because I was still trying to handle and cope with the panic attacks because of all the life-changing things that was happening around me. I started getting depression spurts, and that was nothing I'd really felt before. I hadn't really dealt with depression in my life until then. I ended up getting back in touch with my previously absent father, and we were starting to get a bond back. But then 6th grade happened. I was in middle school, finally, junior high. And that was probably like the calm before the storm. Like that really, really good time before everything just goes to pure hell. But through it all, I ended up going back to school and finishing my 4th and 5th grade classes in public school. The summer was really, really hard because I was still trying to handle and cope with the panic attacks because of all the life-changing things that was happening around me. I started getting depression spurts, and that was nothing I'd really felt before. I hadn't really dealt with depression in my life until then. I ended up getting back in touch with my previously absent father, and we were starting to get a bond back. But then 6th grade happened. I was in middle school, finally, junior high. And that was probably like the calm before the storm. Like that really, really good time before everything just goes to pure hell. I really loved the school I was in. I had a great mentor of a teacher that helped me in and out of school. I had such a great support system of friends that I'd made. I was taking part in track in school and doing these cross-country meets, running and just being free. That really made me feel kind of like a Mustang horse running freely. And when I graduated 6th grade, it was time to go to 7th in the same school. But things were very different. I lost a lot of my friends due to being in different classes. You know, for a kid, that's a huge ordeal. I ended up with a teacher that didn't like me. And the summer was really hard. My mom and I lived with her sister and nephew, and that wasn't a very fun or happy time being around them and living in a very closed in life. I'm the youngest of the family, and so I stick out like a sore thumb, especially back then. Um, I didn't really have my own personality. I didn't have my own hobbies. I just kind of went with what everybody else did because I didn't really have a say so in what was going on. I didn't get to. It was small things of I didn't get to choose what we watched on TV or what we talked about, and then bigger things like being forced not to go anywhere because we didn't have the money to go anywhere, or going to places I didn't enjoy because the adults wanted to go there. And that really was strange. Me and my mom had a really close bond. She's my best friend, always has been, still is. But there's only so much that she could do with working, trying to support us, and deal with our living conditions at the point of time. So when I went back to school for 7th grade, it kind of felt like everything bubbled up and exploded. It was like my first time being out in public around people my age in 4 months due to summer break. And the very first day of school, we were going to our classroom, and the principal like snatched my headband off my head because of a dress code, because of course girls in their dress codes in public school in America, and actually like scratched my face because of it. My mom completely was upset and took me out of school, and we ended up I was enrolled in a Christian school. I had to go to a meetup like thing once a week, but it wasn't a classroom, and even then I wasn't really around people my age. And at that point in my life, I was really questioning my faith, because church was there for me before, but with everything that had been going on, I started questioning a lot as far as faith and belief, and being in a Christian school didn't really help that. But I finished the semester in that school, and because of that, only having to go once a week, I didn't go anywhere else throughout the week. My mom would try. We would go to museums, or even trying to make me go out to eat, try and visit my dad, but it wasn't the same. And even though my body was there, my mind wasn't. I wasn't partaking in things. And that summer break from the Christian school, everything fell apart so easily. We moved into our own house, so we kind of had our own freedom for the first time. But because of that, that also meant it was harder on my mom to support us. And I just stopped going out. It started with, I'm going to sit in the car while you go inside, to, well, I'll just stay home while you go to the store this time, until it was eventually, I'll just stay in my room while you go here. And then to, I'll just stay in my room all the time. That was about 8 years ago or so. I ended up getting enrolled in a complete homeschooling education. I didn't have to go anywhere or anything like that. I just had to study in my room and hopefully pass my grades. And I stopped going places, and then I just stopped going outside. I stopped going into the living room. And at this point, I just kind of stopped everything. Yeah, I love cooking, but this was a point in my time I didn't eat. It was hard to remember to take care of myself as far as bathing and exercising and anything. So the depression was awful at one point in my life. I was kind of just surviving on Lay's chips and Gatorade. And now the smell of either of those make me sick. So my eating disorder kicked in at that point, and I just slept all day and all night. I didn't do anything. I just slept. I didn't get out of bed. There were points of my health getting so bad that it was like detrimental. But I still didn't do anything. And I lost about a year of my life to that. And then one day I finally went to the bathroom for the first time in like 2 days. And I ended up self-harming while my mom was uptown at a store. I ended up telling her about it the next day. And I told her that, because I kind of had this breakdown, and I told her that I was too much of a coward to keep living, and yet I was too much of a coward to actually see it through and do something to myself. And that was the moment my mom, like, completely realized how bad it was. Like, she knew, but to see, physical evidence on my body was kind of a huge wake-up call to me and her and my dad, everyone. And so that was the day my mother and aunt had to physically force me in a vehicle and hold me down to bring me to a doctor. And that was October of 2016. And that was officially the last time I've been off my property. The doctor wasn't able to do much. I was still on that same sedative medication, and I couldn't go see a therapist because I couldn't go out in public. So I got back from the doctor, and then it just went back to how it was. I slept all day, slept all night, barely ate, take care of myself, and the days just went by. And I don't remember those next 4 years. Those 4 years are a total blur to me now. But then it was kind of like I woke up in a way. Like I was still having panic attacks and the depression was worse than ever. I ended up finding a new therapist that has completely changed everything, like changed the whole game. I'm on a new regimen of medications that are actually not hurting me and helping me. Then it was kind of like I woke up in a way. Like I was still having panic attacks and the depression was worse than ever. But I just started staying awake more. I started going into the living room and sitting with my mom. I started finding hobbies again, and one of the biggest ones has been writing, which I've kind of enjoyed writing since I was in first grade or so. but it really helped me cope and get through the past few years. Because even though I saw the same four walls every day, in my head I was making all these different worlds and meeting new people. So last year, I enrolled myself in online colleges because I love school, and I figure writing has helped me survive. Why not push it a little further and see what happens? So now I'm getting my bachelor's degree in creative writing. Of course, they're on online classes, but it's something. It gives me something to look forward to every day, every week. It gives me a new sense of responsibility. I got a dog, and she's been my absolute rock through all of this. Within the past, 6-8 months I've had her. My mom is still my best friend, and she's still there supporting me every step I take, even if those steps are very tiny. And now I'm taking this step to putting myself out here and talking to YouTube and talking to you guys, whoever decides to watch this mess of a channel. This is a huge step because I kind of have been living in hideaway for the past 7-8 years. And so putting myself out on social media and this platform that might not go anywhere, might go somewhere, is still a huge step. If I'm talking to one person, it's just as scary as talking to 1,000. But it's a step, and I want to get better. I want to hold myself accountable, and this is how I do that. So this is how I got here, and I guess in the future we'll see where I'm going. If you watched, thank you for watching, and if you're in a similar position as to I am, just know that I'm here for you, and we're gonna get through this. Me and you and me. And I hope that me documenting this will help you out, because the life of a shut-in or agoraphobia or homebound, it's not a glamorous life. It's really painful, but yet it's also this comforting lifestyle because you're so used to what's happening that you don't understand that it's actually hurting you a lot of the times. But I want to get better. I want to get back out into the world, and this is the first step in doing so. Thank you for watching.